How y'all doing? Ooh, a little loud, a little loud. How y'all doing? How y'all doing? Y'all good? Okay, good. I got a little energy in here. Well, first off, I want to say thank you for having me here today, man. It feels good to be here to share a little bit of my experience with y'all, just to share a little bit of my story with you guys. You see, today I want to talk about something that's a little bit different, maybe different from what you normally hear, but I want to talk to all y'all about something that I think we all can relate to. See, I want to talk to you about a lived dream, but more importantly, a shattered expectation. I want to talk to you about a lived dream, but a shattered expectation. Now, like they said earlier, to give you a little background on me, I'm local here. I grew up in Plano, went to Plano West Senior High School. I know there's a couple of wolves in here. Come around here. Yeah, wolf pack. I know, I like it. Now, when I was at Plano West, I played a multitude of sports, but the sport that I fell in love with, obviously, was the sport of football. I mean, it's nothing like. You get to run around and hit people. You don't get in trouble for it. I mean, you got to love it now. Now, when I was in high school, I earned different accolades when I was in high school, different all-district, all-state honors, and eventually I earned a scholarship to Texas A&M University. Yeah, my Aggies in here too. I like it. Now, at my time at Texas A&M, I played all 4 years there. I was a 3-year starter. I earned different Big 12 accolades, this and that, and I graduated from school in 3.5 years. Mom and dad, they love that now. Just a little FYI, graduated a little early now. They love that, and after my time was done at school, it was time to go on to my next step. It was time to go on to my goal, my dream, and that was the NFL. You see, as a player, we all have expectations of how our dreams are going to be lived out. Just like each and every one of you, you all have an expectation of how you want your dreams to be lived out. We all have a vision of how we want things to go, and part of that dream as a football player is the day that you get drafted. It's something that you work for. It's something that you formulate over time, but you could say that my experience was different from most. Matter of fact, you could say that my experience didn't match my expectation, but it exceeded it. It exceeded it. April 23rd, 2010. It was day 3 of the NFL draft. And I remember I got to this point where I was so frustrated. I was so upset. I mean, I was angry. I sat there and I watched the draft that day, and I just remember I kept seeing name after name after name keep scrolling on the screen, and still there was no phone call from any team for me. Nothing. I remember I got to a point where I was so upset, I was so mad, I was so frustrated that I was at my parents' house. I was watching the draft upstairs. I walked downstairs, and I happened to run into my dad. Now, my dad saw me, and he saw the frustration. He saw the anger on my face, and so my dad, he pulled me into his room. My dad set me down, and my dad asked me 2 questions. 2 questions that I'll never forget. The first question that my dad asked me, he said, son, are you mad? I looked at my dad and I said, yeah, I'm mad. What kind of question is that, man? I was like, man, I played all 4 years at A&M. I said, I graduated early. The same guys that are getting drafted ahead of me, I played against them and I outperformed them. I didn't get an invite to the combine. I didn't get any invitation to any all-star games. I was like, I've never been in any trouble. Guys who've been arrested, been in trouble, they're getting drafted ahead of me. It's like, why am I always the last pick? It's like, why am I always the second pick? Why am I always the leftover? Then my dad looked at me and he asked me one more question. And I really didn't know how to answer this question. My dad looked at me and he said, son, are you mad at God? I looked at my dad and I said, Yeah, but I haven't got drafted yet, so let me hold off on being mad at God until I get drafted first. Let me hold off. So my dad looked at me and he said, well, this is what I want you to do. He said, I want you to give me your phone. I want you to go walk outside. I want you to go pray about it. And so now if anybody knows anything about the draft, your phone is the most important thing on you because that's how teams let you know that they drafted you. So I was willing to go walk outside, walk around, and go pray about it as long as I got to hold on to my phone. So me and my dad, we fought back and forth for a little bit, and eventually I ended up giving him my phone. And as I went outside to go walk around, my dad stopped me. He said, look, say what's on your mind. Get it off your chest. And that's exactly what I did. I said, well, what was exactly on my mind? Good, bad, ugly, and indifferent. I think y'all get the point. So I remember I was walking outside. I was walking around, and I came up on this bench. And I was crying, man. I was frustrated. I was mad. I was literally mad. I sat down on this bench, and I said this one last prayer. I said, God, wherever you want me to be, that's where I'm going to be. I'm done. Y'all, I was literally done with the situation. I didn't care if I got drafted. I didn't even know the draft was still going on at the time. I was through. I was that mad. I was that angry. I was that upset. I was that frustrated with God. About 30 seconds later, I wish I was telling a lie. About 30 seconds later, my dad comes driving up in the car. I don't know how he found me. My dad said, hey, man, get in the car. We got to get back to the house. Carolina's on the phone. I said, Carolina's on the phone? He said, yeah, man, Carolina's on the phone. I said, well, where's my cell phone at? He's like, I don't know, man. I lost your cell phone. I was like, how did you lose my cell phone? But anyway, that's a whole nother story. So I get in the car, get back to the house, and my mom comes running up to me with the house phone, and it's the general manager for the Carolina Panthers. Get on the phone, and he starts having this little small talk with me, and he was like, how's your day going? I said, it's all right. I haven't got drafted yet. Just thought I'd throw a little hint out there. You know what I mean? And so at the end of the conversation, he tells me, he said, well, I hope we made your day a little bit better because just want to let you know that we just drafted you. When I say every sense of happiness, sadness, madness, gladness all came over me, it was something that you couldn't express because, y'all, I was going to live my dream. I had the opportunity to live my dream. You see, throughout this entire draft process, my favorite Bible verse kept popping into my head. I couldn't figure out why. I couldn't figure it out. But my favorite Bible verse is 2 Corinthians 4:16 through 18. It says, therefore, we do not lose heart. Though outwardly we're wasting away, yet inwardly we're being renewed day by day. For our light and momentary troubles are achieving for us an eternal glory that far outweighs them all. So we fix our eyes not on what is seen, but on what is unseen. For what is seen is temporary. What is unseen is eternal. See, throughout this entire draft process, all I could see was people getting picked ahead of me. All I could see was people being in the spot that I wanted to be in. But the entire time, God was maneuvering something in the background, waiting for the right time and the right moment for a team to draft me. You see, God exceeded my expectations. He exceeded it. But I never knew he would test my faith 4 years later. Now, at this time, I've lived my dream, but I haven't experienced the fullness of my dream yet. See, my dream was more than just playing in the NFL. My dream was to be a starter. If I was going to do something, I wanted to be the best at it. I wanted to be known for it, just like all of you guys do. You see, I never knew my expectation would be challenged more than when my dream had finally been realized. May 2013. It was with my second year with the Washington Redskins. My fourth year in the NFL. We were going through off-season workouts and basically spring ball for the NFL. And so as the first week of practice started, Coach called me into his office. And he sat me down. He said, Pugh, just want to let you know that you're going to be our starting free safety this year. Now, in my head, part of me wanted to jump for joy and do a little dance, but I had to keep it professional. You know, I couldn't let Coach see that. So the thing about it was, I had finally realized my dream. I mean, I had accomplished what I've been working for all these years. Now, you know when you work for something, when you go hard for something, you're not willing to give it up. And I wasn't ready to give it up. And I wasn't going to give it up. I was going to kill it in practice. I was going to give them everything I had and make sure they didn't make a mistake in putting me at the starting spot at free safety. So that week of practice went on, and the week came to a close. We ended up having a 3-day weekend. So I decided to fly back home just to get some rest and just relax. But little did I know that weekend I would lose something important to me. That weekend I would lose something that I didn't even know that I took for granted. I would lose my ability to hear in my left ear. I'm fully deaf in my left ear. For 4 years, I had worked for an opportunity to be a starter. For 4 years. And it seemed like in one moment, it was all taken away. You see, man, when I lost my hearing, I lost my balance. I couldn't stand on my own. I couldn't walk on my own. Y'all, I was literally helpless. I was helpless. I missed the rest of the practices. I missed the rest of the off-season workouts with the team. You know, the doctor told me that it would take a 6 to 7 month recovery just for me to be able to walk on my own again. 6 to 7 months. I had no idea how I was going to play. And I mean, training camp was literally around the corner. 2 weeks before we had the report for training camp, I was finally able to walk on my own. A walk led to a jog led to a run. But still, I had no idea how I'd be ready. I had no idea how I'd be ready for the season. I couldn't comprehend it. So I reported to training camp. I got cleared by the doctors. I passed the conditioning testing, and I was set to practice. I mean, the doctors couldn't believe it. They couldn't believe that I was able to recover that fast. It made no sense to them. None. And for me, I felt like I made it. I felt like I made it through the trial. I felt like I made it through the storm. I felt like the hard part was over. Finally, it was over. Now remember, I was starting free safety in the off-season workout, spring ball, and when I finally got cleared to come back for training camp, to my surprise, I was third string. I went from first to third. I went from first to last. So I made it out of camp. I made the team, and yet there was another thing thrown at me. They didn't even want to play me. For the first 6 weeks of the season, I was literally inactive. Y'all, I didn't even put a uniform on for the games. They wouldn't even let me put nothing, not even tie my cleats up. Nothing. And after we played the Cowboys, in week 6, they cut me. Or in other terms, they fired me. And at this point, I was literally like, God, why? Why? Like, what did I do? Why? Why did I have to lose that? Why did I have to lose my hearing? I mean, it seemed like I lost it all. Like it was all just taken away from me. So a week went by, and I got a call back from the Redskins, and a couple of guys got hurt. A couple of safeties got hurt, and they needed me to come and fill a roster spot for the team. And so they signed me back, and I practiced all week, and they had no intentions of playing me. None. I was thinking, what was the point of even bringing me back? So later that week, we got on the plane. We got ready to head to Denver to go play the Broncos. And I did my normal routine. So I went to go pick up my seat and assignment. And come to find out, they didn't even have a seat for me on the plane. They didn't even have a seat for me on the plane, y'all. It was like I had my starting spot. I lost my hearing. I couldn't walk. I could finally walk, then I could run. I went from first to third string. I got cut. I got brought back. They had no intention of playing me. And then we get ready to go play a game. They don't even have a seat for me on the plane. It's like, what else could I go through? What else could happen? Why is this happening to me? I couldn't figure it out. So we went on and we played Denver. And as the game went on, the safeties weren't playing that well. You know, basically it was just bad. Let's put it that way. It was bad. So coach decided to put me in. He decided to put me in the game. And I had 8 total plays against Denver. I had 3 tackles, and my very last play was me intercepting Peyton Manning. I intercepted Peyton Manning, y'all. What? What? But anyway, my bad. I had a moment, my bad. But for me, man, I thought everything had come full circle. I thought everything came full circle. I was like, finally, it wasn't all for nothing. Everything that I went through, it wasn't all for nothing. Do you understand how good I felt? Do you understand the feeling? So as I got up and we got ready to play the next defensive series, coach called me over. He said, hey, Pugh, you're out. They benched me. And then the very next day, they cut me. And I haven't played it down since in the NFL. Like I told you earlier, my favorite Bible verse is 2 Corinthians 4:16 through 18. It says, therefore we do not lose heart. Though outwardly we're wasting away, yet inwardly we're being renewed day by day. For our light and momentary troubles are achieving for us an eternal glory that far outweighs them all. So we fix our eyes not on what is seen, but on what is unseen. For what is seen is temporary. What is unseen is eternal. Y'all, sometimes God will bring you full circle, like he did in the story I told you about when I got drafted. Sometimes God will leave you confused, like in the story I just told you about. But I encourage you to keep your eyes on what's unseen, because God will shatter your expectations just so he can show you that he can exceed them. Thank you for your time. Thank you for having me. Thank you.